The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Welcome back to The Five. We've got three interesting takes from three influential people last night on the fight in D.C. between Obama and the Tea Party over Obamacare. First up, Vice President Dick Cheney, who defends the Tea Party and thinks it is President Obama who lacks moderation.
I don't think of the Tea Party as extremists the way some of the folks in Washington were describing. The extremist in Washington is Barack Obama. He's the guy that wants to fundamentally transform our health care system. He's the guy who's done enormous damage to America's standing in the world. To the extent there's an extremist or radical political view in Washington these days, I believe it's the President of the United States.
I believe that Dick Cheney was a wrestler in high school, and he knows how to flip the argument back around. Bill O'Reilly also thinks that President Obama is trying to destroy the right.
Don't expect much compromise in Washington for the rest of Barack Obama's tenure in office. That's because partisan feelings are so bitter that détente will be difficult to reach. The president's a sensitive man and is furious with people attacking him personally. The Muslim stuff, the birth certificate, the socialist stuff, the president internalizes that and despises those who dispense it. Therefore, he's on a mission to destroy the hard right.
All right, so Greg, what do you make of the extremism and politics of personal destruction?
Well, I made some notes.
Okay.
For one thing, President Obama should be trying to destroy the right, because the right stands between him and his grand remaking of America into a non-exceptional campus of organizers and planners. The right is there for a reason. But extremism exists more on the left. Look at the assassins in our past. Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist. John Wilkes Booth was an actor, a Confederate actor. Squeaky Fromm, Sarah Jane Moore, they weren't members of the John Birch Society. The Party of Slavery, the KKK, those weren't Republicans. OWS, Black Panthers, Weather Underground, Unabomber, Earth First. The left is the home not of the brave, but of the depraved.
Those are a lot of my friends you're talking about.
Oh, damn.
Listen, the thing, this is where I disagree with Cheney on this thing. We're going to have a nice détente at the end of this, but the idea that somehow, I want to see where it is that Barack Obama has done damage to the United States overseas. Where?
Really?
Yes, where?
Okay, well, did you see the whole thing about the Saudis over the weekend?
What, the corrupt kingdom that runs Saudi Arabia?
Anyway, this is not about foreign policy. This is about attacking the right. Eric, do you think...
He's doing a good job ruining America. Forget overseas.
How about the Middle East, Bob? You think Egypt's better, Syria's better?
What was he going to do about that? He's the only one who stood up to Syria. Everybody else...
Pipelines and fracking.
He stood up to Syria?
Yeah, he was willing to bomb when everybody else wimped out.
Oh, except for when John Boehner, who defended him?
No, Boehner was there.
Remember that?
Eric
anyway,
pulled out of him.
I don't know how it happens, Bob, that you'll get me off track so often. Okay, Eric, tell me about what you think of extremism and what do you think about that whole thing?
I love the vice president
using their own words against them.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. He actually quoted Barack Obama, the senator, before he's elected. We're here to fundamentally transform America. Fantastic, VP Cheney. Honestly, I didn't see that coming. I loved it. It was absolutely perfect. He's right, and there is extremism in D.C. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the left go further left because they have a leftist president. They have a president that would be thrilled if this wasn't Obamacare, if it was socialized government care. He would love that. That's maybe the ultimate goal. So calling him out for that, calling the Obama administration out for that is fantastic. Spot on, sir. Thank you.
All right, let me take a look at, we said we had three people that were influential at talk last night. Take a listen to Charles Krauthammer, who was on the O'Reilly Factor, and we'll get Andrea's take on it.
It's hard to see whether the president ever holds anybody in his administration accountable, particularly himself. I mean, he is, after all, commander-in-chief. And on none of these has he ever said, we screwed up. I mean,
well, today he did. You heard that.
No. Today what he did is he tried to sell this thing. He gave this speech in which he said, the product is great, the price is wonderful. We have a little problem at the checkout counter.
So, Andrew, do you think that's a tactic that the administration, if they have the IRS, Benghazi, Fast and Furious, that they just try to flip it and make it about the other side?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at Exhibit A, or should I say Exhibit B, over here to my very far left, Robert Beckel. You do it all the time. What else is he going to do? I mean, look, if I were him, I would take some kind of responsibility on this. It is his hallmark item of his first tenure. It has his name. He could have struck, I think, a different tone yesterday, and he didn't do it. He did not admit that they were working on problems. He could have explained what the problems were. He could have explained when they hoped to have them fixed by. He didn't do any of that. They've just left them out in the open.
Been exposed?
And Bob, no, and no one's been fired. And if you look at all the scandals, IRS, Benghazi, Fast and Furious.
Do you remember when
no one's been fired?
When Newt Gingrich was caught off the record saying Republicans want to do away with Social Security and Medicare, and they do. The fact of the matter is that you guys can't stand the fact that you call it socialized medicine. For a lot of people who live on Social Security, it's the only thing they got.
You think Republicans want to get rid of Social Security?
What?
Seriously, you think that Republicans want to get rid of Social Security?
Absolutely.
I
think they want to get rid of entitlements. I think they want to get rid of all entitlements.
I'm one of them. Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I do. I think Social Security has been a scam, and I would give away all my money that I put in there and just start over and let me handle it. But I want to talk just one more thing on extremism. There is a drive to portray the advocacy of small government as extremism. So we're redefining normal political ideas as something extreme, which means that what is next?
Right.
What will be categorized as extreme next? Just simply the desire to achieve, to do something better with your life, can be seen as bigoted, as racist, because what you're suggesting is that you want to surpass somebody else in your success. That's the next step.
They've done that with lower taxes,
put these lists of names together. Let's talk about Father Coughlin for a second, or let's talk about Joe McCarthy, who ruined people's lives. Joe McCarthy
didn't blow up anybody, Bob. Huh? Your guys blew up people.
Well, don't say that he never blew people up. He destroyed people's lives.
He didn't blow up anybody.
Fat drunk. He was a look. Greg went through a whole list of people.
In your Wheaties
again.
You are.
It was me.
Fired up. You did.
I peed in his Wheaties.
Such irony.
Someone at the table. Oh my! What's with you?
Well, listen. You want me to sit back here and say nothing when everybody,
I would like you for once to say, look, it's a miserable failure. The Obamacare website that's supposed to handle $2.5 trillion is failing, and they need to
in the break,
fix it.
you said, we need to have somebody stand up for this thing. Why don't you do it?
Or admit it fails. Instead of you want to talk about instead of asking Andrea what in vitro is and asking about the guy outside, stand up and say, look, I've been defending this program for 2 years.
Are you mad because I ruined your brain?
I'm kind of mad that because you're finally to the realization that this thing's failed, and will continue to fail going forward. And instead, you want to talk about in vitro and the guy outside.
But if you're Bob, wouldn't you want to talk about the guy outside?
If I had to defend Obamacare, I'd be talking about anything else.
You sit in this seat some point. You take something like Obama and see what you want to do.
But Bob, I do think if you ask the president, he would probably say, in an honest answer, that he is an extremist. I think that he is a radical. I think that he espoused that theory in college. I think he espoused that theory on the streets of Chicago. And so we're looking at extremism and then incompetence. And the danger here is we got them both smack dab together in the form of this administration.
This gets back to Barry Goldwater's Republicans' famous statement: extremism in the defense of liberty is not extremism. Extremism came from the Republican Party. It has from the days of John Birchers going back to
Greg made a great point. Is it that extreme what they're fighting for? No, only in their eyes.
Is it extreme when Rand Paul stands up and says, I want a constitutional amendment to make everyone in Washington, D.C. who's making these laws and voting on these laws to be bound by those same laws? Is that extreme? Is that too much to ask?
To change the Constitution of the United States to do that?
So that if you want Obamacare so darn much, President Obama, Eric Holder, and the rest of you guys voting, then you live by it too, and all the staff too. So
and let's have the thing where they get free lunches, so that we have to get into all that. You want to change the Constitution because Rand Paul thinks they're not being treated equally?
Let me tell you something. I deserve a raise for moderating such a well-run block. Okay, tomorrow I live to fight another day.
I want it was
an extreme block.
I want to raise
supposed to be an
extreme. And I thought you guys were brilliant. All right. The male Jets fan seen on video punching a female Patriots fan has been identified, and he's got a very disturbing
Brian
past.
Kilmeade.
A report on his trouble with the law next. That's directly ahead.
I want you to admit.
So tired of all the darkness in our lives.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.